Hey everybody, Kelly here. How are you doing today? Today is August 27th. It's August 17th. I'm trying to make the year go faster, apparently. As if it hasn't gone fast enough already. By the time you hit summer, doesn't it just feel like, where'd the year go? But anyhow, today's August 17th, 2024. And I want to start with talking about some quilts that I've got. At least partially finished, if not fully finished. So you've probably, if you're not new to my channel, you've been listening to me talking about the Heartfelt quilt from 2022 and the Moonbeams quilt for 2024 from Fat Quarter Shop. Those two are quilts that they have put together as part of a fundraiser for Make-A-Wish Foundation. So I have the Heartfelt quilt behind me here finished. The top finished, sorry, not the quilt. I have the top finished, and I am still continuing to work on the Moonbeams top. It's just I haven't quite got the top and bottom borders finished yet, so maybe next week I'll have that, or maybe the week after, because that's about how my video schedule is going right now, is more on a 2-week schedule than every week. So that was a mouthful. Alright, so anyhow, I have finished the Heartfelt quilt, and I have a ton of scraps. So I may actually stop here and show you those scraps and what I plan to do from here with those, and a couple other items. Alright, let's go to that. Okay, I feel like I'm bound to get confused here, but let's start out with, this is all the scraps that I have left from the Heartfelt quilt that was hanging behind me just now. So the Heartfelt quilt was 2022 Fat Quarter Shop fundraiser for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It was using the Beautiful Day fabric line by Corey Yoder. And so I have several big pieces left, and a whole lot of smalls, and some 2-inch strips, and some really tiny, and some background, and a lot of half-square triangles, because of how I like to do my quilts when it calls for a half-square triangle, or a corner, like the hearts do, the shape that the hearts make. I like to also sew the cutoff piece, and so I've already got a block from that. I've already got some little blocks. Most of them need to be trimmed down, and then these pieces were also off of the hearts when the one block had to have a certain kind of cut to it, and so I went ahead and saved those too, just because I might make a little square out of those or something like that. And then again, I might throw them away later, but in all of these little pieces, I saved them while I'm making the quilt top. And if I have a lot of scraps left and I'm thinking that I might do like a little log cabin or something that might need a little 1-inch piece for the center, I'll go ahead and save them for a while. But when I go to put this together, if I can't come up with a good use for these, they will just turn into stuffing for pillows or something. Or crumb quilt, well, or crumb hot pad or something like that. Something small. I don't want to do a huge project out of something that little, but I also don't want to waste it, so. Alright, so this is all that I have left from that Heartfelt quilt. So, what I'm going to do with these right now is actually just package them back up and put them back into the Heartfelt box here. And I actually had pulled a pattern that I thought I was going to use with these scraps, which is a really pretty easy pattern. It's really, I don't even need the pattern for this item right here. It's literally just 3 2.5-inch strips sewn together, cut them down to 2.5-inch strips, and then sew 2.5-inch strips around them. So that's, not necessarily a really difficult one. It's a nice, simple pattern. In fact, I've thought about passing the stash on it just because I don't need to read through the instructions really so much on a quilt of this style. In fact, I would just kind of put all my scraps together and come up with my own using the same kind of technique. Anyhow, I have a few of these. I may actually put them together one of these days and try to pass the stash on those. So, but it might take me a while. I got to do some decluttering. What I intend to do with these scraps after I put them in the box. So, Corey Yoder, who designed this fabric here for Heartfelt, also did the Serendipity quilt. Serendipity was 2021 using Spring Book fabric by Corey Yoder. That's what this box is right here. Let me move this out of the way. So this box right here, the blue one on the bottom, was the Serendipity quilt. I don't know if I'll be able to get this into camera right now, but right there, Serendipity quilt. Done with Springbrook fabrics by Corey Yoder. So I never got that one completed. So that's going to be one of my next ones to get done. And then also by Corey Yoder was the Bountiful quilt using sun-washed fabrics in 2023, last year. And I just never got this one completed either. So my original plan was to take these two kits and wait until next spring when Fat Quarter Shop does the next Make-A-Wish Foundation fundraiser and sew all 3 blocks together instead of like this year I sewed together Heartfelt and Moonbeams blocks all at the same time, like the first one for each quilt at the same time. And I think I could handle throwing in a third one. But I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll go ahead and get started on these over the winter. And what I plan to do then is the sun-washed actually has, well, both of them, now that I think about it. I think I have the backing kit in the Serendipity quilt as well. And I have the backing kit for the Bountiful quilt right here. So I have a full set for both of these quilts. And so I will have a whole lot more scraps than what I have for this Heartfelt quilt. Because I didn't get the backing for this Heartfelt one. And if I didn't get the backing and I still have all of this scraps right here, I know that I'm going to have a lot out of these two kits. So what I'll do with these is actually box them back up into the Heartfelt box, and I will put them with these two quilts. And when I get these two done, I'm actually going to take all of the fabrics, because they're all designed by Corey Yoder. Even though they're very different fabric lines, they're very much in her style. And so I will then come up with a very scrappy quilt out of the 3 sets of leftovers. And in fact, it can probably be a huge quilt, and or maybe both the front and back. So like maybe I would do, you know, all of this Heartfelt with the front and throw in some of the peaches and yellows and colors with this set, and then do all of the Serendipity on the back and throw in all the blues and maybe some yellows with that one as well. Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. Because see, like this right here for the backing set, you know, I think this, you know, 2 different lines, but I think they would blend really well. So, yeah, awesome. All right, and then next we have the Moonbeams quilt, which is this box right here, which I've been working on, and I have on my board over there. I just haven't got it all assembled. So if you look at some of my recent videos, you'll see that I've been working on that one. And so, yeah, don't want to show you the pattern necessarily, but I've got all the scraps left still. I still need to do the top and bottom sashing, or bottom row. So without showing you all the cutting instructions, this is what the quilt will look like here. And so I haven't got the top and bottom rows completed yet. And of course I need to assemble all the blocks. So, but without having those two rows together, this is all my scraps right now. And this right here is the backing fabric set. So that's not even included. So these are all my scraps left just to do the top and bottom row. And then I have a very large piece of this fabric right here, which is the background. And so I have that very large piece in another room. And I know I'm going to have a lot left from it. It's for the sashings and borders. And I know I'm going to have a lot left from it as well. So this right here is already a whole other quilt. And then add in the backing. And I know how much I'm going to have left from the backing. And so I basically will have a whole other quilt just from this particular kit right here. But I don't know how I had that in there that I had it shut. Let's see. Did I have this over? I think I had this over here. Maybe. Sorry. I gotta stay organized, so give me 1 second. Alright, let me get that out of the way. So, when I finally get the backing put together, when I get the top assembled for the Moonbeams quilt and I get the backing done, then I will have all my scraps. And for Sherry and Chelsea, who did Moonbeams this year with, which fabric line was it? Uh-oh, don't remember which fabric line it was this year. It should have been strawberry lemonade, yes. And that was the one that they sold out in most shops, but anyhow. So Sherry and Chelsea did this year's Moonbeams quilt with strawberry and lemonade, and they also did the 2020 Bloomtopia quilt using Summer Sweet fabric. And so I have already kitted it up with a pattern that I was thinking of doing, and I have a lot of scraps from that Bloomtopia quilt in 2020. And I've also put some backgrounds in here and just some various other designers as well that I thought went well. And I think I might have some fabrics from their fabric line Emma. So I had put this little charm pack in here as well to work on this pattern, was what I was thinking of. But, so I never got that done, but that is still on my radar, and it is using Sherry and Chelsea fabrics just like the Moonbeams quilt. And then this box right here was from when I did Bloomtopia, which they did using Summer Sweet. And so I've got a little charm pack here, also from Sherry and Chelsea for Clover Hollow. And all of my scraps from the Bloomtopia quilt. So I had picked this for a background. This isn't a Sherry and Chelsea. This is just what I picked for the background for my Bloomtopia quilt in 2020. And then these are all of my scraps from that quilt. And so I've got lots of half square triangles. I actually have a whole other charm pack in here, and more half square triangles, and some 2.5 inch little strips, and just different scraps in here. And actually, I believe, I don't know if these were Sherry and Chelsea or if I just thought they were some cute backgrounds or cute 5 by 10 from a Jolly Bar. Like, I didn't use the whole Jolly Bar, and I probably thought that they would be some cute little tan fabrics that would go with this particular fat quarter. And so I stuck them in here. And I probably stuck them in here with this, thinking that these two fabrics right here would really go with all of these scraps. Anyhow, what I was getting at was that all of this is Sherry and Chelsea, or it blends with Sherry and Chelsea fabrics. And so, yeah, so scraps from the Bloomtopia. and scraps from the moonbeams that were by Sherry and Chelsea. And so I thought, well, I'll put it all together, and when I get moonbeams done, I will have at least one more quilt out of all of Sherry and Chelsea's fabrics. And that way I can use up my scraps and get lots of good quilt tops made. And have my boxes for kitting up other projects then. So that's my plans for right now, is to heartfelt into the heartfelt box, and I got the heartfelt top finished. I haven't got a backing for it yet, but I think I'm going to call it a finished for now. And then I'm going to continue working on piecing together the moonbeams quilt, which I should have done very quickly and be able to show you on the next video. And then I'm going to decide whether I am going to go ahead and start on these kits and start on the scraps for the Sherry and Chelsea scraps, or if I'm going to hold off until the next fundraiser is announced in the spring. Kind of thought about just moving right on to using all the Sherry and Chelsea scraps from the moonbeams, just because I know what I already have for all of that, whereas these have to be done before I would know what scraps I have of Corey Yoder's fabrics, because all of these Corey Yoder and heartfelt, it's all Corey Yoder. So I want to kind of put it all together and see what kind of really good scrappy quilt I can make out of all of this. Alright, well, and with all of that said, I also want to do a whole lot of fall quilts. Yeah, plans, plans, plans. Yeah, so anyhow, that's my thoughts on what I'm going to try to do with those couple of quilt kits that I missed from, was it 21 and 23? Anyhow, and all the scraps that I've got left over from these two projects, right, the heartfelt and the moonbeams, which are, I'm pointing to that direction because I've got it on my board over there. But anyhow, so that's the quilts that I've been working on for the last week or two. And, well, I've been working on it for a lot longer than that, but the last that I finished, if I could talk today, that I've gotten pieced and am getting pieced in the next week or two. Alright, so let's go on to cross stitch. I've got a couple finishes for you. Well, a couple finishes for me, but I'll show them to you. Alright, so first finish, you've actually seen the finish, well, you saw the finished stitch already, but not the finished project. So the first one was Bird Nerd from I want to say Hathaway Stitchers. That's their channel, but it was Amity Phillips, and what is, oh, I should have written it down, Boomerang Stitches. And so if you go to her Instagram page, you'll be able to get a link to this pattern, and it was just really cute. It was based off of one of their first videos. They had talked about, we're like kind of joking about loving to stitch birds and being part of the bird herd and bird nerds, and I'm a big bird nerd. I just got my dad a new bird feeder for his birthday, and he's already got it up on the fence, and we've already been feeding him, and yeah, so anyhow, so we got that one done, and this actually was a frame that was $1 at the thrift store, and it's got a little, you know, it looks a little like a $1 frame because it's got a few nicks in it. But if you saw my last video, it actually was supposed to be 3 pictures in it. And so we took out the little cross pieces and I spray painted it. It was black, but I've spray painted it with a little bit of a green, a dark green color. I can't remember what the actual name on it was, but and I just think it turned out really nice for $1. So I like that one, and it's going to go up in my front room downstairs. I'm probably going to wait till I get a few others assembled before actually starting to put several of them on the wall. It's kind of weird to just put up, I don't know, I find it odd to try to find a space and put one, and then knowing that you've got others that are maybe coming, but I don't know exactly what size they're going to be, etc. So I might as well just go ahead and wait. Alright, a couple other finishes for this last 2 weeks. Alright, so this one from Hands On Design called Safe Harbor. I just thought that was a really cute small stitch and a nice summer one. So I worked on that, and here's my finish. And this was just a little dollar store frame. You know, so a dollar at the Dollar Tree. And I just mounted it to a board. I spray painted the little frame, mounted it to a board, put it in there, and then I just kind of glued on some seashells. Looking back, I wish I maybe would have sprayed the top and the bottom here and actually maybe tried to put on like some little sand bits. The only thing I thought about that was that eventually they come off, the little sand bits come off, or it gets dusty and dirty and you try to clean it and then they flake off. So I think it's pretty cute overall, and it's just going to be a little shelf sitter in one of my bathrooms. And so I think it might be for my downstairs bathroom. So I've got a couple of lighthouse stitches in there, and this will go along with that theme. So I just think that's really cute. And just in case the colors aren't showing up very well, it just says, follow the stars and find your safe harbor. So sometimes the color in my room here is not the greatest. I have to do these at night, and so I have to rely on the couple of lights that I have in this room, and yeah, anyhow. So another finish that I got was from a stitch by Heartstring Samplery called the Dressmaker Sewing Kit. And it was actually 3 stitches. This particular stitch is Be Pleased to Smile on This, My Small Endeavor. And I just thought it was cute. It actually was photographed with it being in a tray of this kind of style. This isn't really a tray. It's just a very similar frame to the one I just showed, but this one I actually just made. So it's very rough, and I only stained it. I was gonna put a sealer on it, but I thought, no, I'll just stain it. So a couple of things that I did different on this pattern. Well, for one thing, I made a mistake, and I accidentally got my second line 1 stitch too close to the first line. I didn't realize that till I was getting down in here and working on the lady. But the lady is called for having like a really high peak cap, almost. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on the camera, because I did it because it was in white, because the camera called for white, or the pattern called for white cap. But I just kind of decided to turn it into white hair and did like a little bun right here. And so let me see if I can get it a little closer. I might be out of frame for you, I'm not sure exactly, but anyhow, I just thought this is just a cute little tray. So these right here I've glued in. I had just a little bit of a problem with getting the size just right on the stitch when I put it in, and so there was just a tiny bit of a gap here in this corner. So I thought, you know what, I like these, I'm just gonna go ahead and glue those in there. My only concern with it is they are very dry, but they're so dry now that they're starting to, like, the slightest touch to it and they break off. I think you probably saw just a second ago that one broke off, but as long as nobody touches it, it'll be fine. And it's not meant to last 100 years. It's just something kind of cutesy to put on the bookshelf. And so, and I actually just have this little one propped up in here. I don't know if I'll keep that on that side or not. And so I kind of like the way it is right now, but I also thought about, I've got another little dried piece here, and so I kind of thought about putting this in here, something like this. I'm afraid though that it's gonna cover up too much of the flowers, and I don't want to do that, and I don't necessarily love this one as much, so I don't know. Put in the comments below which you think I should do. Should I just leave it alone, or should I try to press this in here maybe and glue that down in there, or you know, just set it in there maybe. Maybe when I set it on the shelf I could just, oh, and you see the other little pieces just fell. Maybe I can just kind of like put it in front of it or something like that, or something like that. That blocks the dog. I don't like that. But you know, and I think I'm gonna prop this one up and glue it into that corner too. Not sure. Anyhow, for now, let's put those off to the side here. Alright, so what else do I have right now? So for this month, which is August, mid-August, end of August, into September, so I'm thinking that I'm probably not going to do a video next week, and so I will see you again the weekend before Labor Day. So during that time, one of the things that I'll be working on, which I've already been working on, so I'll show you my progress. Lorraine at Shanybrook Cottage is also working on the Quilted Witch cross stitch. Oops, I didn't mean to show you the chart. I hope I didn't show that very long. I was thinking that the picture was right here. It's only a portion of it anyway, so let's see. Well, thought I had the picture right here. Alright. Sorry about this. I wasn't quite prepared apparently. So the Quilted Witch by Lori Holt. So I've been working on this one, and so far I am, let me go ahead and leave this out so I can show you the comparison. So I've decided to do mine on, oop, I think I just lost my needle. Yes I did, sorry again. It came off the magnet. Alright, so that's my Quilted Witch pattern, or the picture. And this is where I am so far. So let me see, where did I put, oh, I probably put it somewhere else. Okay, let's try this. So I have picked a fabric that I've dyed myself. I believe it's a 32 count. It's not really Ada, but it's very similar. It's not a good, nice, soft linen, or fabric, I should say. It's an even weave, and I really like stitching on it, but it is kind of, it's not crunchy like Ada is, but it is kind of firm. So anyhow, I picked a piece of fabric that was that is probably too small. So, and I also realized when I got about over to here that I started too far this way. I should have probably started this star right here, right at the frame's edge. And so, but I started it in a little bit because I was afraid of how the red was going to look against the really darker part of the dye here. Anyhow, knowing that I started too far over, I decided I had a couple options. Either I needed to just have stitched these few things in here and maybe done a couple other little motifs and turned it into a motif pillow, or you know, just a little wall hanging or an ornament or something like that. And so I decided I either needed to do that, or I was going to try to move the witch over and just shrink things up a bit, which is what I've tried, which is what I'm doing actually. So I may still be very, very, very close to the edge on the other side, but I think I'm okay with it. So what's going to happen is this pumpkin is right next to this little motif right here. So everything has shifted about 6 stitches this direction. Everything on this portion has shifted about 6 stitches this direction. These motifs right here were already stitched, and they'll be fine. I might need to do a little bit of, you know, this one might actually need to be removed. So, because when these come over, this one might need to go away. But everything here, I moved the pumpkin over. It's not hitting this one right here. I moved these stitches over. I might go ahead and delete this little one just because I didn't remember to move this motif that I've done already. And so this one might just need to be deleted, but the pumpkin will be right next to this little motif right here. And the worst thing that happens here is I have to maybe delete a couple of motifs out of here. So I'm not necessarily loving that, but I think I can still get it all in on this fabric, and I think it'll be just fine. So basically I've decided, once I got this part done right here, I decided to move on to the pumpkin and start stitching the witch, and then I can put all the little motifs in around her. So hopefully, hopefully I'm good enough at it to kind of rechart as I go, which I think I am. So. And I don't mean to say that like pridefully. I just think I can fudge it pretty good. So, all right. Well, that's how far I am on that then. And as you can see here, I just kind of started the pumpkin right in here in this line, and I've got it stem in. So hopefully in about 2 weeks I'll have a bit more to show on that, and it won't be saying, I made a huge mistake. No, I think it's going to be fine. Alright, so the other things I'm going to work on in the next 2 weeks, other than the quilts that I've talked about, I actually have picked a... So I started kitting up the Summer Quaker stitch by Lila Studios. And I don't have it downloaded right now. I have it downloaded on my phone, which I'm recording this on, so I can't really show it to you. But I have started putting the threads together and the kit together. So I hope to be stitching on that this month as well, because August is still summer. Even though I'm moving on to fall and Halloween stitching, it is still summer, and so I want to stitch on that one just a little bit too. So I'll have that to show next time. But yeah, for right now, that's pretty much what I've been working on. I got my finishes, I've got a few things in progress, and I've mostly been working on decluttering my room and making a new plan, because my 2024 quilt plans really went by the wayside, and there's a couple of them that I would still like to do because they are fall themed and Christmas themed, and yeah, I still want to get those done. But there's also a few that I've just gone ahead and set us and rescheduled for kind of rescheduled is such a word for a hobby, right? But I've kind of decided that I'll work on them in the appropriate season next year. So I feel like there's something else that I need to kind of let you know. No, I talked about it in the quilting plans. Alright, well, anyhow, thanks for watching today, and if you're not a subscriber, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, please hit the thumbs up, please hit the notifications bell, all those good things. And I hope to have lots more quilts and floss tube here in the next several weeks. And so, yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye. Oh, I know what the other thing was. I feel like Hobbies of Holly when she sneaks back into the phone and says, "Are you still there?" Or into the video, I should say. I think I said that last time, didn't I? She's one of the channels that I like to watch. And who else? Cross Stitch the Globe. I like watching them. They are doing a murder sal. So if you don't know about that, go watch Cross Stitch the Globe. Their last couple of videos, they had talked about the house that Stephanie's moved into and some real anomalies or weird things with it. And so they kind of got to talking on Midsummer Stitch about the house and some things, and somebody suggested that they do a murder stitch along. So, and they've talked about they're going to set it up so that people can either do, like, you can choose what you want to do. Halloween stitching, you can do a perfectly beautiful, lovely cottage garden, full coverage with, you know, a murder scene. I actually kind of have an idea, and I'll probably talk about it later, of what flashed into my head right away when they started talking about it. So I'm hoping that I can kind of put that together and it'll be fun. Anyhow, but what I wanted to come back and talk about was I have actually, let me just put this to the side here, have actually bought through Walmart. I bought 6 binders, and they came in like buy a set of 6 for like $12, I think it was. It was a super deal. And so I bought the set of 6, and I am actually going to take all of my printed out patterns. I think we talked about this on my last video about I belong to Teresa Kogut's Patreon and Liz Matthews, and I just started Fox and Rabbit. So, and with those you get patterns, and so I have those, and then Primitive Stitch, Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. I actually subscribed to that a while back, and you get access to all of their back issues. And so I've gone through and I printed off a bunch of different patterns that I'd like to work on someday. This one's actually on the top because I'd kind of like to do it this month. But if I start that Summer Quaker, I might not be able to get to this one. But I might start it too, you never know. And so, and a bunch of different ones. So lots of seasons that I've gone through and printed those out. And so I want to go ahead and make a little binder for all of these. And it'll be, well, not a binder. That's why I bought the set, was because I want to do like a Teresa Kogut binder and Liz Matthews binder, and then one for the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. And I might even, so this is what I found so far that I liked enough to automatically go ahead and just print right then. And there's a lot more, but the ones that I knew that I want to try to do. And so I want to go ahead and make up a book for the magazines as well. And it might be I'm thinking maybe a spring, summer, and a fall, winter, so that it would only be 2 books and not 4, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't necessarily want to just put it into one. So, but yeah, that's one of my projects for next week. So, alright, well, that was a lot. Okay, well, once again, thank you for watching. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notifications bell and hit that thumbs up and send me a comment and all the things. Alright, thanks. Have a good day. Bye.